The Steamship Authority is a proud partner in many Falmouth community events, including town meeting coverage, and for good reason. Not only do we have a terminal and offices here, about 1/3 of our employees call Falmouth their home. We always work hard to serve our neighbors, friends, and the traveling public. We recently put 7 new electric buses into service at our Falmouth parking lots. Soon we'll be adding new vessels to our fleet, continuing work on our energy-efficient Woods Hole terminal buildings, and adding solar panels at our largest parking lot. At the Steamship Authority, we're serving the islands, and you.
Welcome to the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce.
The Falmouth Chamber is dedicated to working on behalf of our members to make Falmouth a better place to live, work, and conduct business. We are committed to developing the economic, cultural, educational, and civic interests of our community and welcome the support from all organizations to achieve our combined goals. Whether you call Falmouth home, are a summer resident, or a visitor, we hope you take advantage of all that the Chamber has to offer.
Hosting services for fctv.org are provided by MegaNet Communications. MegaNet offers a wide array of internet services including Mega Backup Cloud Service, server colocation, T1, fiber, Metro Ethernet, as well as telephone services such as hosted PBX and digital voice. Their #1 goal is to keep your communications network up and running and allow you to focus on growing your business. 877-634-2638 or meganet.net.
Okay, good evening. This is the Town of Falmouth Select Board special called meeting for Thursday, November 13th, 2025. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll remind everyone to turn off their cell phones and to notify the chair if anyone is making a recording of this public meeting, and if so, it cannot interfere with the conduct of the meeting. If anyone is, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. Any announcements this evening? No. Okay, well, we'll move on to public comment. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes, and it is for matters that are not currently on the agenda. There's only basically one matter on the agenda, but if anyone is interested in public comment, please approach the microphone. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so our first and only item of business tonight, to discuss and consider a vote to propose that a new police station be constructed at one of the following 3 locations recommended by the Police Station Advisory Committee: 484 Brick Kiln Road, East Falmouth; 100 Brick Kiln Road, East Falmouth; 0 Carriage Shop across from Wagon Trail Road, also in East Falmouth. Mr. Renshaw?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a real quick comment as the chair of the Public Safety Advisory Committee is coming to the podium. So as you all recall, we had 2 community meetings. The first was on September 25th, and the most recent was October 28th. The advisory committee and my office heard loud and clear the concerns expressed by community members as well as the select board with regards to concerns about the site, the 484 Brick Kiln site. Peter and I gave some direction to the team to go back and produce some alternative options for the board to consider tonight. I do feel it's important going into town meeting on Monday that we have a site identified going into town meeting. So with that, I want to thank the advisory committee, not only the chair, but all the members of the team, the consultants, Vertex and Tecton, the architect engineer. Just a tremendous amount of work, as you all know, has gone into it over the past 10, 11 months. It's been methodical and fast-paced. And quite honestly, I know there's been some concern perhaps about the speed at which they've worked over the past week and a half, 2 weeks following the October 28th meeting. But that's how important it is to this group to get it right. And I feel that they have gotten it right with the recommendations you're going to hear tonight. So with that, I'll turn it over to Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Renshaw. Good evening, Boyd DeMello, Chairman of the Police Station Advisory Committee. We're here tonight to present a presentation on our recommendations of the 3 sites that the chair has previously mentioned. So without further ado, we'll get going on this. Just for a quick overview, so for those in the audience or at home that may have not seen some of the previous 2 community forums and several meetings here with the Select Board, this is the Falmouth Police Department patrol area for the town of Falmouth. The town of Falmouth is 44 square miles. It's divided into 5 sectors for the police department currently. The blue star on the map indicates in the center section indicates the current location of the police station where it sits today. And these are the patrol sectors that 1 police cruiser, either 1 police officer generally handles during his shift. So going forward, one of the things that this committee looked at was relocating the police department on an available piece of property that provided better coverage to the town of Falmouth. So as you'll see going forward in this presentation, I think we've accomplished that a few times here on this presentation. So selecting a location, we're going to do a brief overview again of all those parcels, and it'll be quick, but I think it's important that we review everything the committee's done, because as Mr. Renshaw stated, this committee was appointed in early part of the year, January, and we got right to work, meeting every 2 weeks, and occasionally it was every week meeting and looking at parcels, rejecting some, bringing some back. So, and it was really an in-depth study, and I can't thank my committee enough for the help and passion they bring to this project, along with the support of all the town departments, Department of Public Works, Town Manager's Office, Town Council's Office, and I'm sure there's a few others out there, Department of Community Development, and Jed and all his staff up there that provided us input to this project. Selecting a location, a few of the minimum requirements, and it's not all of them, but this is a few of the big ones. Parcel size of 5 acres or above. Currently, we're looking at about probably 4.5 acres of land, give or take, but again, we're in selecting a land location, not a design for a station at this point. Road access and location, no flood, nothing's in a flood zone. Currently, the police department does sit in a partial flood zone. No conservation restrictions, and Article 97 relief is not required. Article 97 is part of the Commonwealth's Constitution, and it's I call it a pesky little thing because it keeps cropping up every time we find what we think is a good site, and Article 97 raises its head, and we're moving on. Site location, the PSAC selection criteria, parcels came from the Community Development Office. Again, there were 500 plus parcels that were originally looked at by their office, and it was whittled down to 16, maybe a couple extras in there. And the PSAC committee, through evaluation, got it down to 4, based on the 18 valuation criteria that's on the board in front of you currently. None of these are listed in any particular order. They're just the criteria we used. Municipal water service availability, flood zone impacts, and there was other impacts of note. Generally, if it didn't fit into one of these categories, there may be something with an individual parcel that we saw that kind of dropped into the other impacts of note category for us when we're doing these evaluations. We've, at some point along the line, grouped these parcels into different groups just for our own management of the parcels, and this is what we call the Long Pond Group. It's more the core center of Falmouth. There were several parcels here, the 484 Brick Kiln Road parcel, the 0 Brick Kiln Road parcel, which is just to the east of the 484 parcel, 233 Brick Kiln Road, that's the dog park. 100 Brick Kiln Road is what they refer to as the Augusta property, the former drive-in theater property. 0 Gifford Street, 525 Gifford Street, which is the youth Little League fields. 650 Gifford Street, which is the water treatment plant. and 3 parcels along West Falmouth Highway on the west side of Long Pond, essentially on the West Falmouth Highway corridor leading from the intersection of Palmer Ave up to the split on the highway. The Central Road Access Group consists of about 4 parcels that we looked at. 0 Blacksmith Shop Road, which is farther up to the northern part of Blacksmith Shop Road, but just to the south of the former town landfill, currently housing the town's solar array. 565 Blacksmith Shop Road, which is right across the street from the previous parcel. That's also known as the town municipal leaf dump. 154 Blacksmith Shop Road, which is the wastewater treatment plant, which is up off Service Road, more to the West Falmouth side of Blacksmith Shop Road. And then 0 Carriage Shop Road, which is out off of, just in from Sandwich Road, near the intersection of Old Meeting House and Carriage Shop at the fork there. That's also referred to as the Allen parcel. It's about a 71-plus acre parcel, of which I'll get into more explanation in a minute. Then we have the school, the downtown group. There was a couple properties that we had looked at, and these 2 properties were mentioned as we went forward with community meetings and meetings with the board. 340 T-Ticket Highway, which is the school administration property, and 323 Jones Road, the Morse Pond School property. And then we have what we call the Outliers Group. It's a couple parcels of land that fit some of the criteria, but again, due to the police department's need to service all areas of the town of Falmouth, they, while fit some criteria, didn't really fit into that. It's a great spot to put a police station, because if you look at the stars on the map here, if you're going down to the 419 Woods Hole Road property, where currently the Fire and Rescue Department Station 2 is located, if you're traveling from the far east or the north sector, it's quite a travel time to get back to the station, and vice versa. If you put a police station up in the north on the blue star up there, that's 0 Nathan Ellis Highway, which is up near Falmouth Woods Development off Route 151. We did do a tight site fit on that parcel as we went forward, and it's just a tight parcel up there. So, and plus this is too far out to provide central location for the police department. So selecting a location, these are additional or revisited sites since our community forums and our meetings have gone on. Again, 340, the school administration building, it's got Article 97, so we no longer have that under consideration. 888 Sandwich Road has some, was brought to us post one of the community, I think the community forums or a select board meeting. I don't remember when that dropped into the rotation. We had looked at it early on, but digging down on it again, Article 97, the flag popped up, so that's no longer under consideration for us. And then 233 Brick Kiln Road, which is the dog park. We did take a really good look at this parcel because it was in that center town where it's accessible to most of the police sectors. However, it's the dog park would require, and I'll get into why we rejected that in a minute, but it also has Article 97 designations on that property. That brings us to our 484 Brick Kiln Road, which is parcel 14, which the committee has always said is the preferred site. 154 Blacksmith Shop Road, which is the wastewater treatment plant. The 100 Brick Kiln Road parcel, again, that's the Augusta parcel. 0 Carriage Shop Road, the Allen parcel, and then 0 Blacksmith Shop Road, which is that one up on Blacksmith Shop. We recently went back and took another good look at that just to make sure that we were dotting the I's and crossing the T's on this review, and that we had made sure we were comfortable yes or no on that parcel, and we'll get into that as I move forward. So real quick, the school administration parcel at 340 T-Ticket Highway. We rejected this site. It has some Article 97 issues required with moving the ball field. Traffic congestion on T-Ticket Highway and Sandwich Road. We looked at a traffic study going back. It was done by the Cape Cod Commission a few years ago. Additional roadways improvement. Costs are likely to be imposed by MassDOT on improving T-Ticket Highway if we're going for curb cuts, and there's a possibility that some of those costs could be incurred by the town. It's deed restricted because the school administration building is an historic building, and there are some abutter impacts with PD operations in the area, and it is adjacent to a flood zone, and once, as earlier mentioned, we'd have to relocate a ball field. A matrix score on that one, and I'm sorry, I'm remiss on mentioning, we had our matrix scoring back in that slide with the 18 parcels. The scoring, if we had a perfect parcel, it was, the golden parcel, it would score an 85 on the matrix scale for a perfect score, if you want to call it. This site here scored a 59. out of all those 18 criteria and the scoring that we did on that. This site is the 233 Kiln Road, the dog park. We did take, again, we went back and looked at this site. Ultimately, we've rejected it because, once again, Article 97 is on this parcel. It's within the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. There's been land bank funds used on this parcel. Would require, relocating the dog park, whether it would be to another location on that property or relocating the dog park elsewhere. It's a narrow site with an angled frontage, which made increased traffic in and out of that site difficult. Should we relocate the dog park on that parcel, say to the rear of the parcel, it would be a dual use of a public drive on the public entrance side to the police department, where you can probably have a driveway off that going to the dog park out back. And there were some concerns about some impacts in the area with both business and residential. And on that property, there's a significant storm drainage work and restrictions done on that property since the implementation of the dog park, 484 Kiln Road. This has been discussed greatly at all the meetings. It is the recommended site by PSAC. It's got ease of vehicle access to all the areas of the town. It's an excellent road access, and the sight lines in that section of Kiln Road are really good. Close proximity to all patrol areas. It does have proximity to Falmouth High School. A lot of the parcels we looked at the proximity of the parcel we're looking at in relation to other municipal uses in town. So this proximity to FHS presented some positive results on that. We are able to tie into the sewer, into the force main that's currently being out to bid for the town and the current sewer expansion project, and it's outside the flood zone. This had a matrix score of 76. Concerns and considerations with 484 Kiln Road. Yes, it's within the surface water supply zone B, and it's within Water Resource Protection Overlay District. We've discussed this project at previous meetings about ground well monitoring, tight tanks for the vehicle wash bays, and stormwater scepters for taking care of the stormwater runoff on the property. 154 Blacksmith Shop Road. This is the wastewater treatment plant site. It's 314 acres up off Blacksmith Shop Road, off the service road in West Falmouth. This one was in play for a long time, but we finally came around to rejecting it due to its remote location off a main road. It's poor vehicle access due to service road and Blacksmith Shop Road, and it's hills and blind curves up there. Limited area available due to the wastewater treatment plant and underground electrical utilities that are still there from the windmills, and there's some plans or talk about possible solar array or some other work getting done up there, or expansion of the wastewater plant. And topography and soil issues up there were quite difficult. Had a matrix score of 72. 100 Kiln Road, the Augusta property. This is one that we looked at really in depth in the last since the last Select Board and Community Forum, and spent a lot of time on it. Myself, along with Veritex and Tecton and members of the police department, did do a walkthrough of the property last Friday prior to our Friday meeting of the Police Station Advisory Committee, and it was eye-opening on the parcel for us. This site ranked number 2 in our final listing of the 3 sites that we're recommending. Ease of vehicle access to all areas of town, close proximity to the patrol areas. There's some conditional deed restrictions that allow for both conservation and municipal use in this property, municipal purposes for the property. 4 minutes to the high school, that's the same as saying it's in close proximity to the high school. Again, we looked at municipal, putting municipal buildings near each other, and this is the 4 minutes to the high school is just indicating that this property is also close to another municipal parcel, it just happens to be the high school. Sewer access is available because the current proposed sewer project that's going forward does come through this property on the west side of the property, and we'll be able to tie into the sewer on this property as well. It's well outside the flood zone, and it's a previously disturbed site, which is something we heard from both the community and members of the board. This was a drive-in, and we have some belief that before that there was an airfield there, grass field, be as it may. This the scoring matrix of 76, which is the same as the Kiln Road 484 parcel. Considerations, concerns with this site. A portion of the site is needed for installation of a lift station and a sewer main on the western border The proposed sewer project is going to, this property has two road accesses, one off the Brick Kiln Road that we're talking about, and then one off Route 28 near Falmouth Lumber across from the storage facility. The proposed sewer lines are going to come in on that entrance off of Route 28 and travel along the border, the western border of the property to the lift station located back near Brick Kiln Road. A portion of the site has been considered for wastewater discharge if the ocean outfall pipe is not constructed, and a portion of the site needs to be designated for open space and/or recreation. Deed restrictions do not prevent the town from dedicating 5 acres plus or minus for a police station, and Article 97 removal is not required for this parcel. Some considerations and concerns continued. Greater neighborhood impact than the other sites, we realize that. Prior uses of the drive-in and airport could result in some increased site costs for removal of utilities and possible environmental remediation. Test pit for the police station can be located in harmony with the new sewer lift station as it currently is designed. In consultation with Peter McConaday and Amy Lowell, the proposed location of the lift station on the property and the proposed siting of the police station are, as we say, are in harmony with each other. There's no requirement to relocate the lift station on the property to accommodate a police facility on this property. Topography is better than many sites, but some grading is required. The northeast corner of the property does trail off towards Brick Kiln Road, so there may be some grading or excavation work or site work done to improve that should we use that as an access. Access to Titicaca Highway for police vehicles only, it's a plus, but it could be expensive. We really haven't, again, we're in locating a piece of land. We're not looking at a design phase of the building, although, you know, we do some conceptual drawings to make sure a building can fit. The design phase of the building will dictate whether we're going to put a driveway to Route 28, and there's a lot of discussion during the design phase on the aspect of that. 0 Carriage Shop Road, the Allen parcel, 71 acres, 14 of which are available for municipal use. The other 57 are in conservation restriction. The site was ranked number 3. Transit to patrol sectors were impacted by the narrow roads and blind curves. It's in a pretty busy intersection. If you're familiar with the area, there's Old Meeting House Road, and then just to the west of that, there's Alderberry and Blueberry Lane, and it's a smaller road. Location entails longer travel times to the 5 patrol sectors, no different than putting something on Route 151 or down on the 419 Woods Hole property. The travel times are increased dramatically to this site. There's some potential endangered species out there, and this is one of the preferred sites for wastewater discharge, again, should the ocean outfall not be constructed. However, there's no sewer connections on this site, so the matrix score is 61 on that parcel. The last one, 0 Blacksmith Shop Road. Again, this is the parcel just to the south of the former town landfill, the current solar array. We rejected this. It's a remote location again. Poor vehicle access due to the road, hills, and blind curves. Blacksmith Shop Road is not a well-developed road as far as road standards. No sewer out there, and the topography is very poor, and there's some endangered species on the property, and that had a matrix score of 62. So all in all, as the chair pointed out, we're recommending 3 sites to the town: the 484 Brick Kiln Road parcel, 100 Brick Kiln Road, the Augusta property, and the 0 Carriage Shop Road Allen parcel to the board tonight for approval of a site going forward for town meeting on Monday. The Blue Star again locates the police station downtown, just next door to where we are today. And we feel that these, we're moving the police station to a better location to allow the police department to move forward and build a 21st century policing building that has room for their current staff and their proposed expansions. 484, the Brick Kiln Road site. It's an ideal location for efficient vehicle access to all 5 patrol sectors. It's the most favorable site for development costs based on preliminary geotechnical test pitting and soil assessment. This is a conceptual site plan. It's been out there for a while in the community. This was a site plan that we did. These site plans are about a 30,000-foot flyover of the site. The Tecton and Veritex, they propose these sites. We get down to design. We can get into more of the size of the building and/or, parking and where it's going to go and how many spaces we need and stuff. But we as a committee would hate to find out we're picking a parcel and we put a conceptual drawing on there that has X amount of sites only to find out we need half that much more due to the design of the building when we get there. So we want to make sure we can fit the building on the parcel when we get there. Parcel number 2 in the ranking, the 100 Brick Kiln Road, the Augusta property. It's outside the Long Pond watershed. It's outside the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. Good central location with relatively efficient access to the 5 patrol areas. It was previously developed, as I mentioned before, it was a former drive-in. There's some historical data that indicates it may have been an airfield there. It's flat. There's not a lot of virgin tree on the property as with the other sites. And the site assessment was based on GIS site history. And like I said, a group of us did a walkthrough on the property last Friday. This is a proposed site plan for the 100 Brick Kiln Road, the Augusta parcel. Locates the police station more to the Brick Kiln Road side of the property, and you'll see in the upper corner, there's a small driveway where the proposed lift station is going to be located. That sewer line would run along what is you're looking at would be the left side of that red line, just to the right of the red line on the left side of the property is the western boundary of that property. Those sewer lines are going to come in off of Route 28 and run to that lift station from there. Has room for an outbuilding, does have room for future growth for a modular outdoor contained firing range, should the police department be able to put that on the property. Again, it's a site fit, test site, a conceptual drawing for the property. Carriage Shop Road, again, it's outside the Water Resource Protection Overlay District. Favorable topography and site conditions based on GIS and site history. Less advantageous location with longer travel times to the 5 patrol sectors. We did do a test fit on this property. That shows you the test fit on that property as well. This property has been undeveloped. There's a lot of virgin tree out there and other things. So again, that was something we heard from the community about disrupting undisturbed land, and the committee feels strongly about that when we looked at things. So, but we did do a site fit so you could see what may be proposed out there so you could help make a decision tonight. That's in a nutshell, so we're ready for questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. DeMello. I'm sure all the members of the board echo Mr. Renshaw's thanks to you and your committee for the hard work that you put in, the community forum, and then another 5 meetings to come to this spot. So we appreciate your help. I'm going to ask Town Council, we've heard a lot about Article 97. Can you just give a brief overview of Article 97, how properties become 97, and what's involved in getting it off Article 97?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. So Article 97 is an amendment to the Massachusetts Constitution that states that... No one's ever told me I wasn't loud enough, so thank you. And what Article 97 does is it stands for the proposition that land held by municipality is held on behalf of the public, and the public is entitled to clean air, to recreation, to conservation of the land, to the protection of the historical aspects and archaeological aspects of that land. And what Article 97 stands for is that as a municipality, we have a responsibility to hold on to anything that's protected by Article 97 that falls within that ambit. In order to make a determination about whether a particular parcel is protected by Article 97, you have to evaluate many different factors. It's a totality of the circumstances analysis. So that means that no one factor is indicative. Some might be weighted a little bit more heavily than others, but what you would do is you look at the deed to say how the town took the property when the property became part became town property. You look at the town meeting vote, how town meeting debated about what they were going to do with the property when they took it, when they purchased it or accepted it. You look at how the property is used, how it's historically been used, how it's been used recently, and how the inhabitants of the town understand that property to be, what the characteristics that we as inhabitants of the town consider the use of that property. And then always there are some additional unique factors about that piece that will be considered as part of the analysis. So So we did that with these parcels, and we looked at everything. We looked at the deed, what the language in the deed, whether it's dedicated for a specific purpose, whether there's no indication whatsoever in the deed. Oftentimes there is a lively debate on the floor of town meetings, surprisingly, about how the property will be used. So all of these aspects were reviewed and analyzed for each of these properties that we're looking at tonight, and for a lot of the other ones that didn't make the list. Like I said, there's no one dispositive factor, and a lot of times the analysis comes down to a spectrum where I couldn't say definitively 100% that a property is Article 97 protected, but I could say that it's most likely protected due to the factors, and that it would be a challenge and sometimes impossible to remove that protection. So once a piece of property is protected by Article 97, it's difficult to undo that, and there's a reason for that. It's important. The legislature wants the Article 97 protections to remain in perpetuity. So to undo those protections, there's a process. We would have to go to the state, to the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, and we'd have to engage with them to do a site analysis. They'd do the same analysis that I've done and we've all done for these properties, and look at the deed and look at town meeting vote and look at how it's used. Look at whether the town has used CPC funding or land bank money or has accepted any kind of grant from the state in order to rehabilitate it for recreational purposes or conservation purposes or water protection purposes, any of that. If the land had some Article 97 value to it, the town would have to do at least a one-for-one swap to offer some land that wasn't already protected by Article 97 in return for that. If the land had a high Article 97 value to it, the state might ask for a higher swap than just a 1-to-1. It might ask for a 2-to-1 ratio, where we'd have to offer additional land to swap out for the Article 97 land. Sometimes the state will even say, we'll relinquish the Article 97 if you provide Article 97 protection on another piece, but you also need to give us some money. So there's an analysis, and again, it's a spectrum, and there's no one way in or out. If the state does say, okay, we agree that we'll do this land swap with you, maybe with an additional X amount of dollars, then we'd still have to get town meeting permission to go to the state legislature, because the state legislature, both houses, would still have to vote a 2/3 vote in order to release the Article 97 land. At the very least, and this is really being generous, it would take a year to do that. It's more like 4 or 5 years in order to get an Article 97 restriction released. And at the end of 4 or 5 years, you're never guaranteed that the state legislature is going to vote your way. So that's the overview.
Okay, thank you. Just one question I have, Mr. DeMello, just to be clear, on the matrix scoring, both of the top 2 locations had the same score of 76, is that correct?
They did, yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to open it up to members of the board. I'll start with Vice Chair Goldstone.
So thank you for all of the work that you've put in over the past 10 months, and especially over the past couple of weeks, and that goes for all of the committee members who are here to be able to provide these additional sites. I have to say, I come in with mixed feelings this evening. I'm thrilled that we have these options. Since the beginning, I have said that it would need to be an extreme last resort for me to support 484 Brick Kiln, and I think we're in a position where it's clear we have options. So in my mind, that's really positive. I still have some concerns about the process that got us here. With all due respect to town council, what I've seen and heard in asking around is that Article 97 is typically a 1 to 2 year process for a land swap and has had about an 80% success rate in the past. And I think that not only with Article 97, but with a number of the issues coming up, the analysis has been unduly focused on what are 1 to 5 year concerns in the construction and permitting of the station rather than the 50-year concerns that we need to be focused on to ensure that we have the best police station for the next 5 decades. And I think that in so doing and understanding the desire to get this to town meeting with a location, what I've been hearing from constituents is that we've eroded some trust in the process, and we're going to need to rebuild some trust moving forward as we continue to work on this. And I think as we heard at the community forum, everybody is on board with a new police station, just wants to make sure that we get to the best possible police station for the whole community. So I do have some questions about the Augusta parcel design. I shared some of those with town management prior to this meeting. I guess one of them is around the conceptual design and that process moving forward. We talked about parking with the original design on 484. Somehow this design now has an additional 40 sites, 216 total sites for this police station. And it still seems to take up a lot of space. And so I'm wondering with the design process going forward, what will that look like? How much community and other input will there be into the design? Will we see multiple options? Or when we vote the site, are we kind of saying that we're on board with this conceptual design?
No, I don't believe as a committee or as the chairman of this committee, we're asking you tonight to say what I showed you for the Augusta property or any of the other two out there, that this is the site you're getting, this is the building you're getting, this is how it's going to look. I mean, it's a conceptual design. There is great time going down the road after a piece of land is located in the design process to tweak the building, tweak the parking spaces. Again, doing a conceptual design, and I'd ask Matt Salad from Tecton to expand on this for me, is that we're doing a conceptual site drop on it to make sure that we're covering any potential design build on that property, and we're not coming up short down the road. We've locked into the property, down the road, and again, oops, oh, wait a minute, we're having trouble, we can't fit this, or we can't fit, and I don't know what it could be. It could be anything, or parking for a solar array in the parking lot. So these conceptual design, and I'll let Matt speak to that more, but that's my take as the chairman of the committee on why, yes, they do look large. And if you recall, we went back to this first design when they did the staffing analysis and the design build with the police department, and we came out at 68,000 or 62,000 square feet for a building, and we immediately pulled that back 23% right off the bat. That's the first part of designing a building. It's we take the great wish list. It's like breaking out the Sears catalog when you were a kid and circling everything in the book. Now we have to figure out, what mom and dad can afford, and that's what we're doing now. We tailed it back. The town manager came to us, and we asked us for some other reductions that we looked at and provided on this process going forward. But again, it's a conceptual design. It's abstract. It's just making sure we're getting to the right place. I don't want to come back, or this committee doesn't want to come back, and I'm sure that the board or the town doesn't want us to come back a year from now and saying, great site, but we're going to have to move somewhere else because it's just not working out. We don't want to, that's time. That building next door is failing. We need to, we're not rushing to judgment because the building is failing, but we need to get them out of that building and get them to a building they can do their job. It's a great police force. They serve the town well, and they need something they can work on. So that's my take on that. But again, Matt's better at this than I am.
Thanks, Boyd. You did a pretty good job yourself. Just to clarify on that too, this is pre-conceptual design. This is site test fitting, right? So we're being asked to look at parcels, take the program, the space needs development, the space needs assessment that we had developed with the police department in the PSAC committee over the past year or so, and make sure that that program will fit on the site. And that was the antithesis of what you saw on the screen here. And just for clarity, we did review your email, and I appreciated you noting the fact that we were showing more parking spaces than originally There was a drive aisle that we had inadvertently copied over a number of parking spaces. Those have been removed. They match. So the site test fit you saw on the screen tonight is the same number of parking spaces as the previous one at 484 Brick Kiln, which matches the space needs assessment. So I just want to be clear, we don't have more parking spaces on this parcel than we had previously. In terms of community engagement and involvement, that's something that goes on throughout the entire design development process. Once we have an approval to move forward with the design, it takes anywhere from 9 to 12 months for us to develop those working documents that go out to bid for the contractor. Throughout that process, there's a rigorous community engagement process that'll be involved, seeking public input, because right now we're just looking at boxes on a site. We need to develop the character of what this building looks like and how it feels to the community. And that's something that's so important for the input of the community to be incorporated into, because at the end of the day, it's not Meyer Boyd's building, it's not the police chief's building, it's the town of Falmouth's building. And that input is critically important to making sure that it's a successful project now and for the next 50 years and beyond that. Hope that answered your question.
Mr. Johnson,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to expand on that. And that's Matt Salad, our architect, as I know the board knows, but just for the public. I just want to reinforce that if we do get design funds approved for this site, there will be multiple reports back, check-ins with the select board. In addition to community engagement, there will be check-ins on, okay, we're at preliminary design, 10%, here's what we're looking at, what's your input? So from the board, from the public, continue along the design process, 50% design, okay, this is, we incorporated your input, we've made some changes, this is what the design is looking like now, what's your input? So to your question, Ms. Goldstone, absolutely, there will be many opportunities for further input on refining this design going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chair, may I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
And I saw him earlier, but it's for Chief Laurie, if you wouldn't mind. I think my other potential concern with the Augusta property is what feels to me like maybe a lack of community integration, kind of the location where it is, and I get for operational purposes why that location is actually really good, and I like that. I'm just curious, with that kind of location, it's not right downtown, it's not highly visible from Route 28, kind of integrated with other business or cultural activity. Do you imagine that impacting or changing the way that you police? You talked to us about 21st century policing and really being part of the community. So how does that location fit with that?
So I'll just give you my experience. So I'm in my 38th year as a police officer, my 14th year as a police chief. There's been one building that was centrally located. It was a downtown area. We're very unique in Falmouth, and I can tell you that with my years of experience. We have 44 square miles. It's the biggest town that I've worked for. We have 5 sectors. That's a minimum of 5 cars on the road responding to you folks. So to get to you, and just as important, to get back home, if we have a prisoner, we're doing reports, we're doing different things, we really need to be more centrally located. And I can just tell you from my experience, most of the community engagement that we do is off-site, but even the community engagement that we do, inviting you folks in, movie night with the kids, bingo, open house, first night, all these different things, you're centrally located. So it's going to be more convenient for you folks to come in to pick up your police report and your accident report. I can tell you Falmouth is very unique. You want to put us downtown with all the housing you're building and everything else down there. We can barely get out of there now with 35,000 year-round residents. Never mind when you add another 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people with all the building permits that are currently in place and the ones that are being proposed. Downtown doesn't work for us. In a flood zone, we need to be protected. We think on Brick Elm will be a protected site for you folks. But we swell to over 100,000 people in the summer, and we need to be able to operate effectively, and we feel by being centrally located, we will be more effective as police officers and as a department. And I hope that answers your question. I think it's a good site. I like the fact that we're able to get to Route 28. When we talk about different things, about crime areas and different, it's nice to be able to get onto 28 to get to different folks that are having issues in East Falmouth or everywhere else, but also being able to be centrally located. We have to get to Woods Hole or West Falmouth. So I think, in my opinion, both brick kiln sites, they're good sites. And I'm hoping you'll consider one of them so we can move forward. It'd be nice going into town meeting Monday night with some dirt under our feet, as Boyd always says. It would be a nice thing, so we know going forward, if this money is approved, what are we building and where are we building it? And I want to commend everyone here, my team, internal team. We spent, I can't even tell you how many hours on it, and to obviously our architect, OPM, and to the committee. Like I said, unbelievable work. And I'm hoping that the board and the town has trust in us to repair any issues that you may have over this. There are meeting minutes. These are open meetings to the public that we've had. We've been very transparent. And I'll end with this. Just this week alone, walking in that building Monday with water pouring into records. Garage doors broke yesterday. We need to get out of there. And it's our home until we move. And we can't wait 1 to 2 years for the legislator to say, okay, Article 97, but we really need to get out of that site. Remote's not an option. What do we do with our evidence room? What do we do with all our equipment? Where do we book our prisoners? So now the 5 officers on the road, instead of having 5, we have 3 because 2 are in Mashpee booking prisoners. So that's our home until we get out of there. And we haven't rushed this project, but I will tell you, 2.5 years ago when I walked in that building, until today, we need to go. And I hope we have your support and we can move forward. We have a phenomenal architect in OPM where I believe after this town meeting, we could potentially be out of there in 2.5 years. And I think that would be a wonderful thing for my amazing staff and for you folks in this great town.
Thanks, Chief. I just want to say, I think the 2 community forums that we held, the meetings that you held subsequent to the initial description or introduction of the 484 and those meetings, the 2 select board meetings that we had, I think we actually justified what a good process it has been up to this point, and where we have, asked for, received, and dealt with all of the community concerns. So I, with due respect to my colleague, think the process has worked pretty well. It evolved from its very beginning, but I think where we are now is a big improvement. Mr. Brown? Assuming you have a question.
Well, I don't have a lot of questions. I asked a couple ahead of the meeting, and I went and drove the site to check it out. I remember going to the drive-in when I was a kid. So I spoke with the chief earlier, and I spoke with some of his command staff. Everyone seems comfortable with this site. It seems like it'll work. Maybe the entrance onto Route 28 might need a little modification, knock the hill down so there's better sight vision as you're pulling out. But I think the access on the 2 roads is good. I think the fact that they've done the preliminary plan to show that everything fits is really all we need at this point. And I'm happy with this site, so ready to go.
Anyone else?
Thank you. And thank you again for all the extra work over the last few weeks.
No problem.
Chief, I feel bad that you have to take a left out of Main Street here. We all have to do it. Hopefully they don't hold you up when you have your lights on. That being said, I do want to note that the minutes have not been posted. I don't see them anywhere. Maybe I'm on the wrong thing.
The minutes are posted.
Yep. We definitely need to make sure they're there.
The Police Station Advisory Committee, the minutes are posted regularly. Yep.
Okay, I'll have to double check that. Same thing with the programming space needs. I would love to see that. But overall, the Augusta property, I think, is a nice adjustment, and I appreciate that. I'm glad that we all heard the community come forth with no to Long Pond. I was surprised to still see that as your number 1. I understand that that is your top choice, but given all the community input that we received, I was surprised to still see that at the top. I would disagree a little bit with our chair regarding the process. And I don't think it's the process of the advisory committee. I think it's the process of our town. And I think we have to really start thinking, and my colleague, the co-chair, said it, this is a 50-year problem, and it's one that we need to look holistically. This is a beautiful one-to-one replacement, but it's not looking at things holistically. It's not looking at all of the collective needs that we have with our capital campaign for the next 20 years. My colleague, Mr. Brown, always points to that. We have a lot of needs. We could have built in a lot of efficiencies in this, and again, it was not part of the scope of the advisory committee. It should have been the scope of this select board previous, this select board currently, the town management, all of us, to really be looking at how can we build efficiencies, how can we build grander visions, how could we build common community centers, and by economies of scale, we could actually have congruent things working together. So it's not just a beautiful police station. We know that we are going to need new town hall soon because we're in the flood zone, right? We know that we also are going to need new courthouse soon. Again, not part of the boundary conditions of this advisory committee, but our boundary conditions and the way that we operate as a town. We need to look at these things, and I think moving forward, we have to look at these things holistically going forward. This is a comment that I make about our agendas. We look at things in isolation. I think we need to do better. We need to be better, and going forward, we're gonna have to think hard about how we change the way we do things so that we can look at things strategically. Again, I think the Augusta property achieves a nice one-to-one replacement. I have reservation because I don't think it's the best because we didn't expand the parameters. I asked that at the select board meeting. I don't know if that was conveyed, to look at all possible land, not just land that is posted on MLS for sale, but potential opportunities, and I don't think that actually got expressed. I wish it had. I wish we could go back a year or two and really think about how we could do these things together, but we can't. But with all that being said, I do appreciate the work that you did. I appreciate the alternative site location of Augusta, and I'm prepared to vote in favor of that parcel. Yeah, there's just many different layers here, and I think we as a town have to do better.
Well, I'd say this to your comments, and I'll be honest with you, as a 63-year resident of the town of Falmouth, I would agree with you that this town over the years has done some, I would say, head-scratching moments in some of our processes in town. And yeah, there could be some improvement in a lot of that. However, this committee took the charge that was given to us, ran with it, and we are looking with the conceptual designs down the road. And if you went back to our in-depth look at the 484 parcel and that design process we put out, there is expansion for greater expansion. And we are talking about a 50-year plan because the staffing study does show expanding out. And that proposed concept design, when we were really locked in heavy on the 484 parcel, did have the potential for additional space to be provided on that site for future expansion for select boards 10 years down the road from now, or hopefully not that soon, but 20 years down the road. There was space. We took that into consideration on it. But your words, I appreciate your words, and I thank you for those.
Totally appreciated. And again, this is outside of the bounds. Your scope was inappropriately set. We should have given you more rein to look at other sites.
Well, Mr. Reed, you're constantly challenging us, and we're going to take on that challenge and do as good as we can going forward. But thank you. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you. To start, I am in favor of voting the 100 Kiln Road site, so you got 5 yeses. Concerned, Mr. Reed kind of hit a lot of the points that I want to talk about there. I am concerned that 484 was still recommended after the community forum. I thought the town was pretty comprehensive in that community forum and the emails we received saying that we don't want to do this. This will be where I'll add, Mr. Chair, I would like the agenda item to protect Long Pond in perpetuity on our next agenda or as soon as possible. I like 100 Kiln Road, and I don't have any questions on the particular site. I would have liked to have seen, and this is echoing Mr. Reed's point, I would have liked if we had looked at properties that aren't for sale or just haven't been considered before, and we didn't really get that. And if they were, then my apologies, I just didn't see that process. And I think that Mr. Reed going to, and as I look, he was looking to try and find the minutes. I think it speaks to something I've been talking about, where our town website needs to be improved, and we need to actually spend the money to develop a new website. And I think these are part of the larger communication problems that I've campaigned on, saying that we need to do a better job. I think ultimately if we did our job here, this room wouldn't be filled with people who were concerned that their watershed was going to be built on. Again, that is not for the scope of the committee. I just only get the microphone so often. I want to thank you all for your work and for how long you've gone at it and how intense it's been over the last two weeks. Chief, I want to thank you for your advocacy for your officers and for your department, and we understand your frustrations, and you shouldn't have even, the station shouldn't have been in the condition it was before you even hired, and that's indicative of town staff before the current select board, before the current town manager, long histories of problems with this town of mismanagement. So I think that the 100 Brick Kiln Road parcel is good. Again, I would like going forward, you know, I would have not, I am frankly disappointed to see 484 Brick Kiln Road was still considered. And I wish that as we move forward in this process that it's one thing to have a forum for the community to input, but to listen to the community in their concerns on that one. So that's all I have. And thank you again for your due diligence.
Yeah, I just want to say in reference to your point about the entire watershed in that area and conservation, it is something that we do intend to have on a very
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
future agenda item. Mr. Brown?
I just want to say, I understand why it's still on, because operationally, it would have been the best site. I still believe we could have made it work. Obviously, public opinion swayed us to go reconsider that. But I don't think it's a mistake to have it still back on there because, you know,
Yeah, I
it was
mean,
a good site.
I understand. It's just, since the score is the same for the other one,
Yeah.
I've listened to just what the constituents said in the community, and that's all, but I understand.
Yeah, for the record, I agree with Mr. Brown, and I would have been in favor of the first choice, except that we had as much discussion over the water quality and concerns over that. But I think we had our Mr. McConerty, Amy Lowell, and you know, they were pretty sure that it would be okay, and I was prepared to take their advice. So, thank you. So we'll open it to public comment, but I would appreciate any public comment being limited to 3 minutes, and just deal with the Augusta property, if, at least at the beginning, if anyone has any questions with respect to either number 2 or number 3. Does anyone want to say something?
Number 3 is too far away. No need for comment on that one.
All right, well, we won't think of number 3. Anyone have anything to say about number 2? Yes, please.
You got to use the
microphone, sir.
Thank you. Mr. DeMello, if I could ask you a question, please.
Sure.
You said that you've walked that parcel, the 100 Brick Kiln Road. I've lived near there. I'm 70 years old. I've lived there for 66 years. I'm very familiar with this parcel. As it comes in, if I was understanding what you were saying correctly, the septic or the sewer part would be over to the western side, closer to Homestead Lane.
Correct.
So that would push the police station to the eastern side. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say it pushes the police station complete to the eastern side. We need to leave some space to put the sewer lines in along that western border. And let me be clear, those sewer lines and those design concepts, and I believe Peter McConaday, or if Amy's here, can speak more to that, those drawings and plans have been in place before we even started talking about it. So inconceivably what we're doing is we're not disrupting something that's already planned.
No, that's okay. So my question is on the eastern side of that property, the town owns another little strip in there, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Right, which is where Brick Kiln Road would come to that dip at the bottom, that piece that goes straight back there. Going straight back there, there is I don't know if I want to call it a sinkhole, if you're familiar with where I'm talking about back there.
There's a swale.
What's
There's
that?
a swale in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that, whatever that is down there, I don't know, there's either a spring or an underground river that goes to it. Because I remember when the town purchased that property, not long before that, they wanted to try and pump that out, and they pumped for a week. The level didn't go up, it didn't go down. Okay, so it's constantly fed. And we used to go back there when we were kids, and then we would pay the price for that when we went home, because none of our parents wanted us near that thing. So my question is, if that property is down, that hole or whatever is downgrade from where the police station would be, the police station would be hooked up to sewer, so we wouldn't have to worry. Like, there's going to be a lot of pavement, obviously, when you put the police station in.
Right, so there's that swale that you're talking about down in that lower corner. If you're standing on Brick Hill Road, you're referring to the left side of the property or to the right side?
If you're on Brick Hill Road and looking at it it'd be on the left side of the property.
Right, so we did look at that and we see it, but the police station is going to be back farther onto the property, onto what is the flat grade or the, maybe part of the drive-in theater at the time. I've spent time on that property. Besides the other day walking it, I probably was parked next to Selectman Brown in the drive-in years ago. I don't know, but I mean, I did spend a lot of time back there.
Were you by yourself, Mr. DeMello?
We're not going to get into that tonight, sir. Thank you, though. But, and I worked for the Augusta family for many years, and we had some experience in working up on that piece of land too. So my familiarity with it wasn't related to just Friday. I spent some time on that property. I'm familiar with what you're talking about. But that police station will come back off that swale. We did, Matt and Steve Kirby from Tecton, and we all looked at it. We discussed it, and it's not an unsurmountable problem for us.
I was just concerned about the runoff, that's all, because I do know that it's much lower.
We are too, and that's part of the design process going forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Neto? 3 minutes.
Keeping the discussion positive, I would come to the mic to support this parcel. Very well familiar with the parcel. Actually remember when it was in Air Park. I don't know if I'm the oldest person in this room, but I thought Mr. Goulart was as old as me, but I guess he's younger. I remember when the drive-in was constructed, and that elevation in that parcel is a fairly high site. But we paid $3.25 million about 15 years ago, and that was going to dump this treated sewage, and that's why we voted it. And I support the parcel because it's a good use of taxpayers' funds. Right now, we spent over $3 million of open space that no one's using. And if we can put the police station there, I think that's a great idea. And I think, as I said to this microphone, I came here last, 55% of all the homes are east of Sandwich Road. So as people of East Falmouth, we are the center of town. It's not Main Street anymore. And the police respond to accidents and crime, and that involves people. So I think the site meets many, many qualifications, and I'm happy that the committee came up with this site. Thank you very much.
Is that a new record for the quickest Joe Netto public comment?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Okay. Anyone else care to have comment? Yes, Mr. Hargraves.
This is, I'd like...
Introduce yourself.
Peter Hargraves, Precinct 9. I'd like to use my 3 minutes to comment on the exchange I heard between the factions of the Select Board. A lot of this stuff I have heard in public meetings over the last 6 months. I haven't seen one of the complaining members at any of those open meetings, and I don't know how they get their information. Maybe it's from the hair on fire letters that come into town hall from the vocal minority. But it's very disturbing to hear that we have a bad process. We've talked about doing things strategically. That won't be an invention if you do that. In any communication, there are two sides. There's the telling and the listening. So those who have to have the baton to do the work should maybe do a little more listening to the public, and maybe even attend some of the key meetings where these open issues are discussed in public and get some firsthand knowledge. So I thank all the select board members for their service, and I'm glad we have different points of view. That's how we get to the third way and doing things better than either one or the other would have done. But just more specifically, I would say on this issue, I brought up a strategic approach, and I was told we couldn't consider that because we didn't have time and it was an emergency. And on the same vein, 11 years ago, I stood in front of the school department and told them our buildings were underutilized, 46% occupancy, and we could save $2 or $3 million by redistricting and taking one down. There was no listening.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, behind you, Ms. Fenwick, and then you're next.
Hi, Wendy Bissler, Precinct 2. I'm very pleased to see that you have found a viable alternative to the initial number one, the 440 brick kiln. I think the Augusta property seems to meet a lot of the needs of the town. I'm glad to see that both the pumping station and the police station can coexist on this property. That was one concern I know that a lot of people in town had, so I'm glad that they can both happen. And I urge the town to start looking for a place for the town hall because, as you know, to get in front of this whole process, because it will be just a matter of time before that the town hall has to be moved. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fenwick?
Hi, Judy Fenwick, Precinct 1 Town Meeting Member. I spoke at the second community engagement where I think I said no matter what happens, the board needs to come to a unified approach on a vote. You can't split on this. The other thing I'd like to say is, although Chief Laurie's been here 2.5 years, there are so many members of the police department have been working in that building for far longer, and they deserve relief as quickly as they can get it. So if you can speed it up so it's not another 2.5 years, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Please approach. Yes, you.
Good evening. I'm Sue Hughes from Precinct 6. And I want to just join other people who have expressed their thankfulness about your finding another alternative to the original, kind of property that was proposed for the police station, and then reconsidered on the basis of the potential environmental concerns and danger to Long Pond. I am hoping that those of you who were very concerned about that issue will see the similarities between the use of that property and the danger to Long Pond and the use of the proposed 0 West Falmouth Highway property and its relationship also to the protection and conservation of Long Pond. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Bosanowski.
Dave Bosanowski. I'm president of the Falmouth Heights Mayor Vista Neighborhood Association. I've also been a town meeting member-elect. I haven't been sworn in yet. I'd like to commend the process that we've actually developed here. I was very much in favor of the Long Pond location at 454 initially. I thought it was a great location, geographically centered in the town, and I thought that process. I thought the project there would go through. I really did. I didn't take into consideration initially the runoff and the flood, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the alternative location is a very suitable alternative. I think Brick Kiln is where it belongs, and that parcel, being the historic property that it is, airfield, the drive-in theater, and I think access to East Falmouth, east-west is fine. The chief mentioned getting down to Woods Hole. You're still going to have to go through the center of town probably, or 28A, because there's no access to 28 from Brick Kiln. I don't know if that can be remedied by a on-ramp there. But I do think that is the right location, and I would support that location. And that's about all I really have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Yeah, one. Shad.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lynn Shad, and I'm a town meeting member with Precinct 3. And I just wanted to say that it seems as if this exercise that we've done, more than an exercise, in finding the proper place for a much-needed police station, as well as matching that with environmental concerns, is an example of many of the decisions that are going to be coming before this town going forward. We came to a nice, amicable conclusion here, and I just hope this gives us encouragement to enter into the future projects the same way, by taking into consideration town needs as well as our environment. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Schneider.
Barbara Schneider. I'm here as president of the dog park, and I want to say on behalf of the almost 500,000 dog visits that we've had over the last almost 15 years as of May 1, this 2026, thank you for realizing the importance of the dog park. And ironically, 100 Brick Kiln Road was the dog park site committee's second choice for a dog park. And the reason we walked away from it was that at that time, 17 years ago, there was a lot of racing going on that property with some kind of go-karts and so on. And there was quite a terrain that had been carved in by doing that. So thank you and good luck, and we love this idea.
Yes, ma'am.
Lynn Whitehead, Precinct 1. I just want to say this is a great town. I know we have many friends in many towns, and they don't work as well as this town. The select board, all of the committee, the work that's been done, the agreements, even the forum you had at Lawrence School, everyone feels completely part of it. It doesn't happen in every town. So thank you to all of you, all of you. We are so fortunate, and I hope that everybody in this town knows that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I think we're getting close to a motion, but I just want to say that I think this has really been a good experience. There's been good debate. We've listened to the community. We've come to what I think is, as Ms. Fenwick says, a hope for consensus. I think all along that was what we were striving for, and we obviously didn't have consensus on 484, and we kept looking, and thanks again to the committee and our consultants, and the chief, and all of his staff as well. So, Mr. Brown?
Mr. Chair, I would move approval, and I would say I move to propose construction of a new police station at 100 Brick Kiln Road.
Second. She can have it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous.
My mother's always told me third time's a charm, although usually after reviewing my homework, but in this case, third time's a charm tonight. And I thank the board for their vote. On behalf of the committee and the police department, we're moving forward. We're not done. We're coming back to see you again.
And now people can get home to watch the Patriots, right?
Mr. Chair, motion to adjourn.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Chief, good luck. Now the hard part starts.
We always work hard to serve our neighbors, friends, and the traveling public. We recently put 7 new electric buses into service at our Falmouth parking lots. Soon we'll be adding new vessels to our fleet, continuing work on our energy-efficient Woods Hole terminal buildings, and adding solar panels at our largest parking lot. At the Steamship Authority, we're serving the islands, and you.
Welcome to the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce.
The Falmouth Chamber is dedicated to working on behalf of our members to make Falmouth a better place to live, work, and conduct business. We are committed to developing the economic, cultural, educational, and civic interests of our community and welcome the support from all organizations to achieve our combined goals. Whether you call Falmouth home, are a summer resident, or a visitor, we hope you take advantage of all that the Chamber has to offer.
Hosting services for fctv.org are provided by MegaNet Communications. MegaNet offers a wide array of internet services including Mega Backup Cloud Service, server co-location, T1, fiber, Metro Ethernet, as well as telephone services such as hosted PBX and digital voice. Their #1 goal is to keep your communications network up and running and allow you to focus on growing your business. 877-634-2638 or meganet.net.